we tell ourselves a lot. But are you going to get up and do something about it or not? That's your choice. So some of the things that we can do to change this are those voices in our head. We all have them. Are we talking ourselves up or are we talking down? So get the right perspective. Define what your problem is. A problem is something you can do something about, but if you can't do something about it, about a situation, it's a fact of life, not a problem. Positive thinking is how you can overcome that, and enthusiasm is how you feel about a problem. We've heard a lot of people talking about getting stuck, and over again we keep hearing enthusiasm and being excited is the way to do that. Change, a lot of us are afraid of change. We can't avoid it, and I'm kind of a big nerd. That's one of my things. I'm a brain, and I like little lists. So one of the things is they broke change down into the 5 letters. Challenges. Change isn't easy. Humor. It helps if I laugh a lot. When I get nervous, I'll laugh. How many people do that excited, scared laugh? Just like that, exactly. Adjustments. It helps to be flexible. If you're so daggone rigid, you're not going to make it. Newness. It gives a change for a fresh start. When you get a new join and you're like, you're going to be a runner. Yes, right? You're excited, that newness, that growth, that optimism that Brittany talked about in the first step. Brittany in the first step. Growth equals change. Evaluation, changing forces to look at my life. And then he talked about some steps to overcome fear. Discover the foundation of it. Our fears aren't usually based on facts. They're based on a feeling, which is so amazing when we talk about that emotional maturity. Accept fear is the price of progress. You guys, it's scary sometimes to have all this money, to have all of these people following. It's scary to stand up here sometimes, right? Develop that burning desire within you. When you've got that why and it's so big, you don't give a fig Newton about what anybody else thinks, right? Failure. So many people hold themselves back because they're afraid of failing. I mean, how many times have you held yourself back from encouraging somebody or reaching out to that builder or growing or asking that scary person? Because guess what? They might say yes, and then you might have to do something about it. So those are some of the big things. And then so many of us have a spouse that we do this with. And one of the things I thought was really interesting that they talked about was when we were in 1933, FDR was in this midst of a Great Depression. We were on the verge of a world war. Our country was a mess. I mean, we don't know anything about that, right? Yeah, it's weird. The world is really weird right now, and whatever your beliefs are, it's still weird. I think we can all agree on that. So he said the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. But what I thought was really cool is it goes on to talk about how fear is universal. It doesn't matter your age, your sex, your race, where you come from. You know, we've heard people at the top say they're afraid. We've heard people starting off say they're afraid. But you've got to face it and overcome it or you're stuck. Find out why you're afraid. I love this quote. Fear and worry are interest paid in advance on something you may never own. I'm like, oh man, that's so me. Admit your fears. Courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not the absence of fear. It's always going to be there. It's what we do with it. By admitting it, then we can challenge its accuracy. So many of our fears are based on these falsehoods, these things we tell ourselves that they're never going to happen, and they're not even close to true. Accept the frailty and brevity of life. Guys, we're only given a short snippet of time. We can't control that. We're all going to die. Unless you've got some superpowers. I don't have that. I'm not Jesus, you know? But we can either worry about dying or we can worry about living, and both of them are painful. So we can accept what we can actually control in those things. Fear is the price of progress. To do anything of value, we have to take risks. All of us took risks to get here. whether it's in our business or even just traveling to get here. If we accept it as the price of progress, then we can then we can take appropriate risks that receive great reward. And I have to tell you, I'm thankful for all of you in the room today because this is a reward. This is a treat that we don't all get. How many of our downlines or even our sidelines would kill to be here today? This is amazing. Develop a burning desire that overcomes fear. I mean, when we listen to the fire and passion of so many of these people that we've listened to today that are such great leaders, they're on fire. That overcomes their fears. Focus on the reason for confronting it. It's our goal to be bigger than the fear. Focus on what you can control. I have to admit, I'm not in control of a whole lot of anything right now, right? But what I can control, I can do these things. So face what you can do. Don't let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do. Make a list of what you can do. You know, the 30 things that Natalie was saying is in her notebook. Write some of those things that you can do because there's going to be days that you feel that you can't. I love this quote. Sorry, I'm going on a little long. I'm practicing for next year when I'm up here as a diamond. I'm not kidding. As a leader, I often have to deal with the wrong attitudes of the people who follow me. So a long time ago, I decided that, and this is John Maxwell, this isn't me, this is not Jackie Knowledge. I can control my attitude, but not others' actions. How many times do you go, oh, I wish that person would do this differently. She did this. I can control my calendar, but not others' circumstances. And it's not what happens to me, but what happens in me. So many of us have had so many things happen that have caused an internal growth in us. Focus on today. Fear tries to make us look at all of our problems at once, those from yesterday, today, and tomorrow. You know, when my husband and I get in a tiff, which it happens, he'll say, Jackie, you're bringing up things from something that happened 10,000 years ago. We tend to pull all those things together and we make things a bigger fight than it needs to be. But if we focus on what's going on at this moment, that's what I can control, and that's what we can get over. By focusing only on what's right in front of us, we can manage tremendous risk because we'll only have to deal with it one wave at a time. Put some wins under your belt. I love this because the first quote I said was, from FDR. This is from his wife. It seems like they kind of did a lot of things together, which is amazing because so many of us have our spouses involved with us, helping or not or whatever. She said, you gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You are able to say to yourself, I lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. And lastly, do it now. So often you'll say, I can do that tomorrow. I can do that tomorrow. Well, you find out tomorrow never comes and you worry about it. And that gets you nowhere. So what I'd like you to do, on the table there, guys, there's a little pink envelope thingy. You can see that. There's little slips of paper in there, and I would like you, we can pass those out, to write down some of your fears and excuses that are holding you back, because we're going to focus on it right now. When thinking won't cure fear, action will. So we're going to do something about our fears and excuses. We're going to write them down. We're going to own them. And then we're going to throw them in the fire. We don't need them. If you get rid of them, then we can actually do something about it. So, the last thing, the very last thing, Harry S. Truman, apparently I'm on a president kick. The worst danger we can face is the danger of being paralyzed by doubts and fears. This danger is brought on by those who abandon faith and sneer at hope. It is brought on by those who spread cynicism and distrust and try to blind us to our great chance to do good for all mankind. And that is what we do in Plexus. We give people hope And we're often sneered and laughed at, and people think we're nuts, but we've got the right thing going. So let's write those things down, give you a few minutes, and then are we